Grand Rising loves. I know it's almost noon. It's 11:55, 1155. I'm excited. I didn't even notice the time. So this is the altar spread for the collective today. And I'm feeling really powerful. So I know that Instagram is like flashing up. Hang on. We're telling more followers to join your video. We're letting your followers know that you started a live video. Hi, Sam. How you doing? So this is the altar spread for the collective today. And so the collective is everyone, including myself, but this is for the greatest percentage of the collective. So if this resonates for you, it's for you. If it doesn't, it's not. And so these two cards are always about the energy that's happening today. And then this is the tool to help you move through those energies. And so the sacred geometry that showed up today, if you can see this is actually the expanded flower of life. And so it's crossing over. Crossing over talks about our connection with the spirit realms, but it showed up in the reverse. So showing up in the reverse, it's actually telling you that you are coming into a loss, a death, a crossing over. Now, hey, Doug. So this loss could actually be a death of a part of yourself. And that should be happening if you are evolving on your spiritual path. That happens many, many times. You suffer many spiritual deaths, and you are constantly evolving and refining yourself. Now, it can also mean very seriously that you are going to lose someone, or that you learn today of your own illness. And so be very aware of that there is no such thing as death. And death is actually a planned event. It's something that you choose. And I like talking about this so that people can understand it, because the more you understand something, the less attachment that you have to certain energies. And so we actually choose very specific exit points. And so you are actually, those people that experience near-death experiences, right? That's actually an exit point that was planned by them so that they could take that exit or not. It's actually, you are given that choice at that point in time. That's why they say, I experienced this, but I came back. That's an exit point. I myself have experienced that myself. A very specific exit point, and did not take it. Now, suicide is different. Suicide is not following the plan. Suicide is saying, I can't hack the lessons and I'm taking my own exit. Now, what happens in suicide? You do not go to hell in suicide. You actually come right back into the human experience, the same exact experience that you exited from. So you do not get to go to the in-between and plan your next human inception. You actually have to come right back into the same exact experience immediately. No decompression, no thought process, nothing. So basically, it's like playing Monopoly, and you bought all these properties, you have all of this money, and then you're like, oh, I feel like this is becoming too hard. And then you're playing with all your friends, and maybe your friends are kicking your ass. And then they say, you know what? That's it. Go back to start. But guess what? We're taking all your properties and all your money. You have to start all over again. But then they still get to keep all their shit. So you are basically coming into the same exact experience again. And no, it's like a reset, but a reset like go back to go and do not collect $200. So that's what happens in suicide. It's like the dumbest decision anyone can make. And so I hear people say like they're a coward. No, it takes great fucking courage to like kill yourself, right? That takes great courage. And I say that because I kill myself. I face annihilation often in my spiritual journey by ways of sweats, by ways of journey. And I kill myself many, many times over, but it's a spiritual death. So I am not actually dying a physical death. I bring myself to the brink of extinguishing real life. I mean, it's a very real thing to face death, and people do die in sweats, and but it's not suicide because I'm going in there knowing that I am going in heart-centered. My intent is to completely surrender. And I do that, and it actually refines the spirit. And that's why I am walking around through this human experience more spirit than I am human. And that's why my energy feels different, looks different, tastes different, sounds different. All of those senses that the human gets to experience, it's very different for me. Now, this card showing up in the reverse is saying that you are facing a death. So whether it be a spiritual death or an actual physical death, know that death is not real. Because you can shed these physical suits and you're not dead. And those who are so in touch with spiritual energy, and psychics, of course, also, you know that you actually have greater access to someone that you loved once they've crossed over than most of the time you have when they're in their body. Because when they're in their body, they have all these impediments of being human. One being the ego. The ego is a huge impediment. That's the greatest handicap of our humanness. And so crossing over is saying, just be aware that there is going to be a death. It's showing up in the reverse. So whether someone close to you is dying, whether you receive information that you may be dying, or a spiritual death, there is a death. And so just be aware of that. And surrender into it. Do not resist it. Now, magic also showed up in the reverse. I love the synchronicity of the 33. By the way, the 33 is the harmonizing of our parts. This is mind, body, soul. That's what the 33. So if you see repeating 33s coming up, you do, Amanda? Wow, okay. So the 33 showing up is saying, check yourself. Are you allowing yourself to be more human? Or are you in your head about this? Are you putting way more stock in your physical being? And you can see, right? Because we're birthed into the human experience with three parts: a mind, a body, and a spirit. But the only real thing, the only true you is the soul. The soul is what animates the human body. It's just a biological suit, literally like putting on a spacesuit to walk the moon. You are putting on this biological suit to exist here on Earth. And the suit is not you. Okay? The intellect is not you. And so the intellect was always meant to be clear. It's more like a colander, okay? Not a library. And a lot of you have a huge amount of information congesting that intellect. You have it stocked in there like a computer database, and that's what you're accessing in order to be human. And that's actually the ego. So when the intellect is kept clear, you are actually accessing the divine wisdom that is your birthright. because we all are birthed with 100% knowledge and wisdom of our path and our purpose, why we're here, what we're here to do. But most, and I would be willing to bet like 99%, contract amnesia. And they are portraying someone else's version of themselves. And this is what I do for a living. I help people remember who they are. And I am one of the very lucky, super low percentage that never forgot who they were. And I know that that's my purpose here, is to not have forgotten so that I can help those others to remember. And so I really don't consider myself a teacher or a student. I just am existing here. And I do know this to be my last inception in the human experience. And so I also know it to be my longest. So this is going to be a really long life for me. So I might as well enjoy it, right? Anyhow, magic showing up in the reverse says, you have forgotten how magical being human can be. And that if you have lost your connectedness to spirit and all that is, then you do lose the magic. And it becomes just a mundane, same old same existence. And that's not what we're here for. And so if you watch a child, their entire day-to-day is magic. Everything is new. Everything is fantastic. Everything is an experience, a rich experience of newness. Everything. And so we have to return to that state. I'm reading Amanda's comment. You probably are feeling other people. The energy can be really intense now, so it's super important to keep yourself shielded. And that way you can also stay in constant communion with self. Yes, stay more present. In the present moment, this is the only thing that is real. So right now, we are the only things that exist. That's it. Oh, good. And your boys are such amazing little wildlings. I love them. And so that magic existence showing up in the reverse, it's saying, get back in touch with that. What have you lost? And if you can access a past moment that seemed so magical, and it says, specifically in this card, it says, that didn't happen just by yourself. That all magic occurs in communion with spirit, in communion with the divine. And so that is when magic happens, when you are in this full experience with divinity. Not only your divine self, but the divinity outside of you. That's how we get to witness miracles, is that we become the embodiment of divinity, and then we get to witness it outside of ourselves because we are so full of that divinity. We are so in deep communion with that divine self that it shows up in our reality. And then it's like, whoa. And I know there are so many stories that I can share about this, even in my own human experience in past lives, but even as Sherry, especially as Sherry, that I'm really not shit. I'm not special. I'm not better than you, and I'm definitely not less than you. I may be further along in the spiritual journey than the majority of other humans, but that doesn't make me better. It actually helps me to share more so that you can see that this is a very real thing, and it validates so much for people. And so the magic, like meditating under a mesquite tree, and the mesquite tree on a day that wasn't even breezy bends its bough to touch me just so that it could experience me as I experienced the tree. And it was a beautiful feminine mesquite tree. And so that's magical. That is amazing. And when I tell other people, like, do you accept that? Do you say, wow, I knew that could happen? Or do you judge that? Right? And so if you get in your heart, you actually can feel the truth of it. You don't reject it. And that's recognizing magic and love. That's embodying the divinity that is you. And so the crossing over in reverse is saying you're going to experience a loss, but really loss is not real. When you embody your divine self, you know that loss is not a real thing. And so magic in the reverse is saying get back in touch with that divine self. So this will help you move through this intense energy of loss. If it's a loss of a part of your spirit, or if it's a physical loss of someone that you're sharing this human experience with, it'll help you move through that and accept it. So acceptance is so important in the human experience because we have to let go of the attachment. And amethyst is the tool of today's spread, divine connection, which is everything we just said. So this is a really cohesive spread today, and I love when that happens. I have more amethyst than I have of any other stone, so I'm excited because I get to share and show you all of the different forms. But this is actually a natural amethyst point. It's huge. And this is also a natural chevron chunk of amethyst. This is a spirit cactus, amethyst. They call these sometimes cathedrals when they have all these little baby points and then one big point. And this one is probably my oldest, and I've been sleeping with this. So this used to be completely flat. And I had shared with someone once down in Mexico. I said, yeah, this actually grew. And he said, that's impossible. It takes millions of years for crystals to grow. And I said, oh, that's your ego saying that it's impossible. I've actually witnessed it. So these points were actually flat, but they all grew. And so, of course, it's possible. If you leave a crystal alone and it's fully married, like this has always been kept next to my bed, okay? So the magic of my spirit when I sleep maybe is what nourishes this beautiful crystal to feel safe enough to grow. But it has grown. That's very much a truth. I'm not full of shit on that one. Here's an amethyst sphere. And so the shape of the sphere actually sends the energy of the amethyst in the entire space. So it really does infuse the entire space with the energy of the crystal. So any crystal that you get in a sphere, it permeates the entire space with the energy of that crystal. A point is directive. So it not only becomes like a portal for this energy in that space, it anchors this energy into a space. It pulls it. Same with this point. This is another point, but this is a Super 7 amethyst, which means that it has 7 different crystals in this, but amethyst tip. And I loved this. It looked like it had like a cathedral doorway in it, if you can see that. Isn't that amazing? And that's natural. It grew like that. Freaking amazing. I mean, crystals are so amazing. They are living things. That's why they work. And these are amethyst stalactites. They look like flowers. I just love them. So those are different types of amethysts anyway. I like playing show and tell. I feel like I'm in preschool again. I am the child, the magical child. So, anyhow, the Amaru, and I love this because this is the culmination of the spread, right? Amaru says the beautiful place, but it says those dreams and fantasies of living in a magical place are not childish dreams, that is actually a reality. You can manifest that and create that by embodying the divinity and love of your true, authentic self. So it's not a pipe dream, y'all. It's not some fantastical pipe dream. It's actually a possibility. Remember that all possibilities are infinite. Infinite means unmeasurable. It means unfathomable. So when you embody the trueness of yourself, which is pure vibrational love, and you become more divine spirit than human, Amaru shows up and your entire existence becomes magical. Death no longer becomes real. Loss is no longer real. Grief is no longer real. Jealousy and competition is not real. Rage becomes false because everything becomes harmonious. And that's the point of today's spread. So thank you. Thank you. I love you. And I am sorry for any discord that I have created as source. Please forgive me. And thank you for the opportunity. Aw, I love you. Cindy and Elizabeth, thank you for the love, Thank you. Have a beautiful and perfect day. And may you witness a succession of miracle after miracle so that you can witness the divinity of you outside of your body. I love you too, Maria.